Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. I'm Kari Anderson, your host and principal with Insight Consulting. My podcast explores the tools and strategies that help nonprofit leaders grow their impact and build resilient organizations. As always, I'm here to share some hard-earned lessons and honest truths from life inside the nonprofit world. I spent 25 plus years in the nonprofit sector in leadership roles with 7 organizations. Now I provide coaching and consulting services to ensure that nonprofits like yours have the structure, systems, and practices to do your best work. Wherever I go, I continue to hear that nonprofit execs need a space to gather, to receive tools, feedback, and advice that encourages them to stay the course. It doesn't matter if you're in a village of 182 or a metropolis of millions, nonprofit work is both gratifying and lonely. I'm here to make sure that you have a chance to breathe, laugh, smirk, and get excited again about the important work that you do. Today, we're diving into a topic that's reshaping how nonprofits think about collaboration and community change, and that topic is cross-sector partnerships. Now, here's something I've learned from years of guiding nonprofit leaders towards success. The most powerful solutions rarely come from working alone. And that is really hard for some of us that are type A, controlling, firstborn, and perhaps Gen X to learn, right? I'm pointing at myself, by the way. In fact, some of the most transformative results I've seen happen when nonprofits actually step beyond their usual boundaries, frankly, are brave, right? And start working hand in hand with businesses, government agencies, and even academic institutions. Today, we'll explore why cross-sector partnerships matter, how they work, what challenges to expect, and most importantly, how your organization can start building them with confidence and with purpose. So let's start with the basics. What do we actually mean by cross-sector partnerships? At its core, a cross-sector partnership brings together organizations from different worlds, nonprofits, businesses, government agencies, and sometimes universities, to tackle complex social issues that no single entity can solve alone. Think of them as strategic alliances, where each partner brings something unique to the table. Nonprofits contribute deep community knowledge and trust. Businesses offer resources, innovation, and efficiency. Governments bring scale, policy influence, and long-term infrastructure. These collaborations can take several forms. One is a joint project. Maybe your nonprofit teams up with a local business to run a workforce development program. Some are strategic alliances. These go deeper. Shared missions, shared resources, shared goals. Then there are collective impact initiatives. These are big ones. Multiple sectors committing to a common agenda, shared measurement systems, and continuous communication. If you ever heard about the Strive partnership in Cincinnati, that's a great example. Hundreds of organizations came together to improve educational outcomes citywide, and they achieved what none have done alone. Now, here's the key distinction for you. Cross-sector partnerships aren't just about exchanging checks or logos. They are genuine collaboration, and so some of you may not be ready for this yet or, frankly, interested in it because it means doing work that perhaps is scary or new. It means shared decision-making, mutual accountability, and the willingness to co-create solutions together instead of staying in our silo and perhaps being of a scarcity mindset. This is where the magic happens. So a nonprofit's community insight, a corporation's operational discipline, and government's policy muscle working in harmony for lasting change. So let's talk about what nonprofits stand to gain from these types of collaborations. Because when done right, they can be game-changing for your organization. First, they allow resource sharing, and frankly, don't we all need to be sharing a little more right now? This goes beyond funding, though yes, that's often a part of it. A corporate partner might share office space, marketing support, or even their technology infrastructure. I know when I worked for the American Heart Association, we benefited from that from a healthcare partnership that we had in Tacoma, Washington. I once worked with a small nonprofit that, through a corporate partnership, gained access to enterprise-level software and professional services that immediately streamlined their operations. Suddenly, their staff could spend less time on admin and more time on mission delivery. That's the kind of ripple effect resource sharing creates. Second, there's an expertise exchange. This is one of my favorite aspects of cross sector work. Nonprofits learn business principles, and frankly, we all could stand to learn more of them. Things like data analysis, customer experience, or process improvement, while businesses gain a deeper understanding of social needs and impact measurement, right? It's give give. It's a two-way street of learning. Everyone grows. And third, partnerships open up new funding opportunities. Many corporate social responsibility, CSR for short, programs, government grants, and foundation initiatives now require or prioritize collaborative approaches because they don't want to see duplicate work occurring. When you partner across sectors, you'll suddenly find that you qualify for funding streams that maybe haven't been accessible to solo organizations like yourselves. And those funds often support scaling, meaning you can grow what's already working without falling into that constant feast or famine cycle that too many of us know all too well. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. These cross sector partnerships aren't easy and they require a heightened level of detail orientation and accountability than perhaps you're used to. You're bringing together organizations with vastly different cultures, different motivations, and sometimes very different power dynamics. For example, imagine a small community based nonprofit partnering with a major corporation. The imbalance in resources and influences can be stark. The corporate partner may unintentionally dominate the agenda or set expectations that don't align with the community's needs. Then you add government into the mix with its own bureaucratic structures, election cycles, and regulatory priorities, and the complexity multiplies. Here's what I've seen work in overcoming these challenges. You first start with clarity. Clear is kind. Every partnership needs clearly defined goals, roles, and expectations from the beginning. Build transparent communication. Set up regular check ins and open feedback channels where every voice, big or small, gets heard. Address power dynamics directly. Don't let those uncomfortable conversations about influence or decision making go unchecked. Don't avoid them. They're critical for trust. Create shared accountability. Develop success metrics together so no one partner dictates what impact looks like. When you combine good intentions with solid structure and honest communication, that's where partnerships move from transactional to transformational. Leadership is everything in this work. The leaders who make cross sector partnerships thrive are what I like to call dual vision leaders. They focus both on measurable outcomes and on the human dynamics that make this collaboration work. They understand that trust, empathy, and curiosity are just as important as the KPIs and deadlines. One of the best tools I've seen for this type of leadership is human centered design. Leaders who use this approach don't assume they have the answers. They start by deeply understanding each partner's needs and motivations. They create safe spaces for open, judgment free conversation. They design solutions collaboratively and stay flexible, testing and adapting based on feedback. It's a leadership mindset that turns potential conflict into innovation. And that's exactly what complex social problems require right now and into the future. But even the strongest leadership won't carry a partnership if your culture isn't ready for it. If your team sees collaboration with business or government as selling out or mission drift, you're going to struggle to gain traction. That's why building a supportive culture for change inside your nonprofit is essential, and that starts with you. Here are a few ways to do it. First, reward curiosity. Celebrate team members. Team members mean board, staff, volunteers, right? Who ask, what can we learn from our partners? Highlight success stories. Share examples of cross-sector wins in staff meetings and newsletters. Create cross-functional teams. Let your internal teams mirror the diversity and collaboration you're going to expect externally. People normalize failure. Build in learning from failure sessions to show that experimenting and adapting are part of growth. When your staff feels safe exploring new ways of working and sees leadership modeling collaboration, They'll help sustain those eventual external partnerships long after the initial excitement fades. So let me bring this to life with a real example. Across the US right now, affordable housing alliances have shown what's possible when the public, private, and nonprofit sectors align around a shared mission. Take the partnership between enterprise community partners, local governments, and corporate sponsors. Here's how it worked. Governments provided land, tax incentives, and regulatory support. Nonprofits handled community engagement and resident services. Developers contributed construction expertise and capital, and corporate partners offered financial backing and employee volunteers. The result? Thousands of affordable housing units built, but more importantly, they included wraparound services like childcare, job placement, and financial coaching. This model worked because each partner brought their strength and respected the strengths of others. That's the essence of cross sector collaboration, not duplication, not competition, but integration. So, where do you need to start if your nonprofit is ready to explore cross sector partnerships? Here are three simple steps to begin. First, map your ecosystem. Who else is working towards similar goals in business, government, or academia? Look for overlapping missions, not identical ones. Second, start small. You don't need to launch a massive collective impact initiative. Begin with one joint project, one shared campaign, or even one conversation. Third, focus on shared value. The most sustainable partnerships benefit all involved, not just your organization. Ask, what's in it for them and what's in it for the community? The truth is, the path forward for your nonprofit doesn't have to be walked alone. Cross sector partnerships aren't just a trend, they are becoming essential for organizations that want to create real, lasting change. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I'll leave you with this thought. The question isn't whether cross sector collaboration can drive meaningful change. We already know it can. The question is, when will you take that first step towards building your next bridge? Because the most powerful impact happens when we stop thinking in silos and start thinking in systems. Your community needs what you bring to the table, and they need you to bring others along with you. Thanks for listening. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with your team or your board. Make sure to follow me on your favorite streaming platforms, including YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And for additional resources and tools, follow me on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website at insightconsultinggroup.com. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, keep building bridges, and keep driving social impact. Have a great week.